Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. I have another farmhouse kitchen decor sign here for you today. It does take quite a few supplies, but everything came from the Dollar Tree. For the Gorilla Glue and the chalk paint and my paintbrush and pliers, but everything else came from the Dollar Tree, even this ruler. It took me a little bit to find this one. I had seen a lot of people using it, and my husband has one, but it's bigger and it just doesn't work on my desk very well. So I went and finally found it at my Dollar Tree. It's just 12 inches by about 6.5 inches long, and so it works really well to keep things square. So you'll be needing that today. You will also be needing a box of the towering tumbling tower game. It's like the mini Jenga is what we call it, but it's just little blocks of wood. Okay, if you have some scrap blocks of wood around your house, you can use those too. This is going to be used to help the sign to stand up. So you need those. Like I said, you need Gorilla Glue or some kind of wood glue. You'll need some Mod Podge. I prefer to have the matte kind. I don't like my things to be super duper shiny. So this also came from Dollar Tree, and the matte one has the yellow edge. The glossy one I think is orange. So make sure you get the matte one, especially if you're going to use it over chalk paint, because chalk paint is matte finish. I am using the Waverly chalk paint in the color Ink. I picked up a package of these stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're dimensional, and I will be painting those black and using them on the spinning part of my sign. Now, I picked up this sign, and this is the one I'm going to use. I also have seen it done with this sign. Okay, so it depends on which look you want. I wanted to go for the black and white look, so I'm going to use this one. And I am going to base my sign in black, so yeah. And then, of course, you need the star of the show, which is one of these spinning signs. They are from the spring collection, so if you want to do this, you better get out and get this right away before they're gone. Okay? And while you're out and about getting these, grab a couple extras, because I also have a craft coming up in my Christmas in July series that's going to use these. So I've bought several because I keep coming up with more ideas. So it's just fun to have that little spinny part on there. So I've been trying to come up with all sorts of different ideas. And I also thought it'd be fun if it's stuck on the dishwasher, but it's a little bit big. It could say clean and dirty, but that's a little bit out of control, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to paint my sign. This, I got the embossed one. They also had one that was done in glitter, but glitter's harder to sand off. This embossed foil might leave a little bit of a line, but my picture is going to cover it, okay? So actually the first thing I want to do, I said I was going to paint first, but I think I should actually do this first. These are the tumbling tower blocks, and this is where I'm going to use my ruler. And I'm going to glue them together in sets of 4 like this. You don't need a ton of glue to glue them together, especially with this Gorilla Glue. It's pretty strong. So I've opened my glue, and I'm putting just a little bit on the end. And then I'm going to put this together, and I'm going to make sure that it's straight. And I'm going to wipe off any extra glue. Okay, and I'm going to let it sit and dry. But I'm going to put 4 of them together in a row. So those are set aside to dry. Next step. I'm going to paint this sign with 2 coats of chalk paint. And here I go. I'm just dipping straight into the bottle. So I'm hitting the sign with the hair dryer just so that it will dry it out so I can flip it over. And it didn't record, but I already painted the other side. Now I'm going to flip it back over because this is the second coat of paint that I've put on this sign. I'm going to stop at 2 coats here, and I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and we'll do the next step. Okay, the next step you're going to do, and I forgot to tell you, you're going to need some white Waverly chalk paint for this step, and I totally forgot. So I'm going to take the stickers that I purchased at the Dollar Tree, and I have an old scrap piece of acetate. Whenever I have stickers that come on a nice sturdy piece, I always save it because I can use it for things like this. So I spelled out the words open and closed, and that is what is going to go on the spinny part after it dries. So the first thing you do is peel those off, spell out your words, and there are enough O's and E's and whatnot to get out of one, to spell this whole thing out of one package of those letters. So I already stirred my craft paint a little bit ago. All right, and I'm just going to lightly paint over the top of them. Okay, I think I'm happy with that coverage, so I'm going to let it go at 2 coats. I'm just going to set them aside so they can dry completely for a little bit while we finish the sign. Alright, next I'm going to use the sign that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. It says kitchen is open, but I'm going to do a little cutting and pasting. So the first thing I need to do is take out the sign. Since my sign is still drying, I'm going to grab another one that I have just to mark where I want to cut this. And it looks like I'm going to need to cut it inside of the white lines to make this work. So I will leave this line showing and go ahead and cut that out with my scissors. And for this part, I'm going to actually use my paper trimmer because I want it to be nice and straight. You don't have to use a paper trimmer. You can use your scissors. But I have the paper trimmer right here, so I'm going to use my paper trimmer. And what I'm going to do is line this up so that it's going to cut off all of the yellow of the open, but leave me all of the mixing supplies. Now I'm kind of wishing I had left this part on. When I do my Mod Podge, I might put this piece back on and leave the top on and leave the bottom on because it's going to be very close to fitting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue and I'm going to run a bead along here and I'm going to stick these together so it will say kitchen is and have that little line. I want that seam to be as little noticed as possible. Now I'm just kind of measuring here. I need to figure out where I'm going to cut this. Okay, so I need to trim my edges down just a little bit more. All right, let's see how this fits now. And if I put this little line back on, I think that'll look nice. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of Scotch tape and undo my little boo-boo. And then I need to trim the top to kind of have the same border as the bottom. So I will be Mod Podging this onto here so that it has kitchen is. Okay, so that's our next step actually. I'm going to put a coat on the back of here. And I'm also going to put a thin-ish coat on here. And centering it. And I'm going to start pressing down from one side and smoothing it out. Smoothing from the center out to the edges. And then I'm going to go over the top of it. now we let it dry. While the Mod Podge is drying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue on my base pieces. Okay, so I'm bringing back the pieces that I painted, and the unpainted side is the bottom, and this is going to get sandwiched between the two pieces. So I'm going to figure out where my center is, and I'm going to use a pencil and make a little mark so that I can see where my glue needs to go to. So I'm going to put glue in between my two marks, and I'm using my Gorilla Glue again. And I'm just going to run a bead between my marks. And then I'm going to place my sign on top. Now I'm going to grab one more of these little tumbling blocks just to be a spacer to hold it up so that when this is drying, actually I'm going to use two, so when it's drying onto here, it's going to dry flat. Okay, so I want to make sure that it's flush with the bottom of the Jenga pieces. I'm just pushing it down. I'm going to take a look at the back and make sure that there's no big glob of glue there. So I'm going to smooth it out. Okay, it won't stand on its own right now. It needs some support on the front. So that's where our other piece that we painted a little bit ago comes in handy. And sandwich it on there, lining up the edges and pushing it down. So I'm just going to push down for a few minutes, for about a minute or so, and let this adhere. While that's drying, I'm going to turn on my hot glue gun and let it start warming up so that I can glue on the letters that say opened and closed. Okay, my glue gun is heated up, so I'm going to bring back in my opened and closed. So decide where you want your words to go. Then I'm going to peel them off, and because I went ahead and painted them, they've got this little edge on them. So I'm just running my pencil around the inside and the outside, and I'm hoping that's going to give it a little distress as well. So I'm just cleaning the edges off. And press it down. Alright, there's one side. Kitchen is open. I will flip it over and the kitchen will become closed. Alright, there you have it. Closed, open. And as soon as this dries and flattens out, I will do a little touch up on here to help my crooked placement look a little better. Okay, so I'm going to try to repair what I mixed up a little bit. I'm using a white glaze pen, and I'm just kind of going along the edge, and I'm hoping that this is going to dry nice and white and kind of help. I just wanted to finish it just a little bit. I decided after it was drying that the edges needed to be black. Now all it needs to do is finish drying, and it will be done. Kitchen is closed. Kitchen is open. I think this turned out adorable. It had some mistakes along the way, and I really wish that the "always, you are always loved" from the original sign wasn't bleeding through. Here's the finished sign. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope this has inspired you to go out and find this sign and try this for yourself. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.